Hey, what's going on, pilots? Thank you for joining me on another review video. In this video, we're going to be reviewing the high-grade Ez-8. This is the revive version, not the old classic version of the high-grade kit. Um, so without further ado, let's kind of get into the kit and some of the things I had to go through with just putting the kit together. For cleanup and cleanup tips, I basically just have to say that the nub cleanup was pretty easy all around. The only issues were on the kneecap parts here. Um, it's in a really weird spot and it doesn't help because of the seam lines that are on there. They're kind of jagged and all over the place, and unless you have one of these small files that I have with a sanding paper on it, good luck. Because it's not easy. I'm like, I really couldn't even do any good with those. But that's pretty much my biggest gripe of the kit is these seam lines. There's a decent amount of seam lines on the kit overall. There were a few on the shoulder here. There were a couple on the arm piece here that's kind of like almost like the pauldron part of the shoulder. Oh, here we go. This is a better way to do it. On there. And there were a couple, I believe, on the leg. I honestly don't know because I really did a decent job on hitting them up and making sure they're gone. So I don't recall all the places that they were, but they were kind of in weird spots. There were a few on the arm too, even. But there was enough for it to be a noticeable thing that I had to do when building this kit. The stress marks, though, not bad. It really helps that the color isn't off-white because that hides nub marks as is, especially if you're using God hands or something like that. And it made cleanup really easy. I could probably get away, or I did get away really, with using 1000 grit sandpaper for most of it. And I'm not concerned about that because I will eventually be painting this kit anyway, as with all the other ones. Even the blue wasn't terrible. So there were some really bad nub marks on the shield. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it, but it's like basically where my finger is pointing on both sides of it. They're a little bit thicker gates to cut through. So it definitely left a nub mark, but using 1K grit and then 1500 grit pretty much did the job. And that's for all the areas that are kind of darker, including the gray and the blue. For tackling that, but I really don't have really didn't have too many issues with the nub marks themselves. Or the assembly. No problems with the assembly. Everything went together really well. This is definitely one of the better kits to come out in 2013, or at least of the ones that I've done that came out like anywhere from 2012 to 2014. This one's really good. If you don't like the rubber poly caps, that come with most high grades, then you might have a problem with this one, but they really weren't that bad. And I think they actually helped the articulation out a lot with the kit. Yeah. Just make sure that you guys definitely pay attention to the orientation of the arm and leg frame joints, like the ones that are located here on the kit and then here on the kit. Because orientation is kind of everything, and especially with the arm, it's a little hard to notice until you have it all together what the correct orientation is. Really pay attention to the directions and where they point out those distinguishing features so you know that the part's oriented correctly. Yeah, pretty typical for assembly. Now, before I actually zoom into the kit, color separation, I think you guys can tell straight up, it's good. I have no color correction stickers. I don't want to zoom in on it yet, just for that. So the color correction is really good. It's faithful to the mobile suit as it appears in the anime series or OVA, if that's the term you'd like to use. So it's pretty good. Now let me take a second here and switch to my kit cam, so that way we can kind of break down the kit, look at its articulation, and look at some of the gimmicks that it has. There's a lot more gimmicks than I thought were actually going to be a part of this kit, and it's really cool because apparently it's in the ground type as well. Just a standard ARC 79 ground type. So yeah, let's take a look at this kit, and I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back with the actual kit on the kit cam. So, to go over some of the articulation points, the feet are pretty articulate. One is already swivels on a ball joint and is able to pivot out and such. Two, parts on the leg, my fault, parts on the leg actually move in order to kind of give it a little bit of extra range of articulation. Especially this front part here, kind of just make it step out a little bit further. But also the feet themselves do pivot somewhat, just the front part or the front part of the foot. It does pivot slightly, so you can kind of take some decent posability out of that. But it is really nice that you get a decent amount of rear articulation on it. So that way you can actually kind of put it in a decent kneeling position that looks kind of natural. Now for this kit, I did separate the waist skirts in the middle, so that is not how your kit will come as default, but I decided to actually do it with this kit because I've been talking about it in some of the other ones, and I just wanted to do it here. So let's kind of pose this guy up. So you can get a pretty good kneeling position. It seems pretty stable, very stable as a matter of fact, mainly due to the knee joint down here being able to carry most of that load. Now these do move a bit too, which is kind of nice for articulation if you're doing something along those lines, where for some reason you want that, or if you want to use it kind of as a stand, give it a little bit more of a brace depending on the dynamic pose you have. That's really a cool thing that they included with this. Now you can see here that the legs are double jointed. This is the only piece that kind of has been giving me trouble, are these back ones, but that's just because they're on a ball joint and it's just kind of a narrow articulation window. That's fine, because if it gets cut up on this and then it goes off, I don't really count that as being a polycap problem. I count that as being a design problem, kind of. So they still go up like that, and of course they bend like that too, and they can come up pretty high on the torso. The upper thigh piece right here that you can see on the camera is able to move as so, and a little bit freely, and raise the leg and lower the leg. So you get pretty good leg articulation, obviously similar to the Jestas, if not a little bit better actually, for the leg part. I'm gonna have to repose him anyway. The waist part, the side skirts lift, no problem. They're really nice. The rear skirt does not, as is typical with the high grade kits. The torso joints, if you kind of let them rotate out a little bit, you can tilt the torso somewhat forward and back if you leave room for it to do so, or you can press it down all the way. Where it doesn't have that, it does rotate decently well. So you can kind of get that lower and upper torso manipulation. So it can lean back a little bit, can lean forward a little bit, but that's not really the best feature of the kit. There is some maneuverability to the sides with the torso, as long as you move the waist skirts kind of out of the direction of the torso, you can get a lot of good articulation out of it. So you can get some decent waist torso articulation out of it, but that's not the high point of the kit, I think. I think that's kind of where it loses a little bit of points. Luckily, it does have that forward and back tilting. Arms, same thing. They're double jointed, so you get a lot of really good articulation out of them. There's even a stop for the arms, so you don't go back past the normal part like that. That's good. Like I said earlier, the hands do move about a ball and socket, so it is kind of a little loose with the polycap handpiece, but that's something that can't be fixed with a little bit of cement on the ball joint and then just letting it dry afterward. The arms also do raise, so the shoulder part, it does pivot inside of a joint, but also the arms themselves do raise on their own. They do twist, of course, at the top. So I would say articulation for this is probably, I would say probably about a 7. It may be a 6 only because of the torso, but not a lot of high grade kits. Oh, sorry, that's my own fault. The back waist I trimmed a little bit more than I wanted to, so sometimes it has a tendency to pop out if I'm really messing with it. But that's okay. I know the fix to that. Probably might pop out here. That I apologize. But that's really the only part where it loses it. The head has about the normal articulation that a head has on a high grade. So that's probably about a 5 or 6 right there. But I really think it excels in the leg and arm articulation, especially for being a 2013 kit. Then, not only that, the backpack does move. It does have moving parts in order to put the parachute pack, which I did not build. But it holds that, or if you're able to get the older RX-79 ground Gundam, the weapon pack does go in here. But I do not know if the new one does or not on the ground type. I will come back to that whenever I build that kit. I'll let you guys know. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that. Just had to do a quick fix on it. So some of the cool gimmicks that this kit has to offer is that in the leg part, especially if you pay attention to the snap build video that I have, these parts can kind of actually fan out and you can get access to the beam saber. So the beam saber is actually stored in here. One, there's a lot of detail in here, which is really nice. If for some reason you want to completely remove this part or do some type of battle damage, that's really nice. That's detailed. But the beam sabers are held in here and it closes like this. You can even kind of open them too if you're like want to do some type of mid deployment pose, or like him kind of reaching down for them in one of the legs. Or the cool thing is that if you get probably one of the early grade strikes, or if you get a strike Gundam and it has the folding, or the high grade strike Gundam and it has the folding knives, which I forget what their names are called for those knives, but you can throw them in there for a nice little custom. Not only that, and like I showed earlier, the backpack does do the things it's supposed to do for a kit like that. Another cool gimmick is that underneath this chest here, see, this is where I have to be careful about popping stuff out. There is a lot of detail underneath this chest. That's what I'm trying to show here. Yeah, if you saw the snap build video, you'll see it, but right there it is. So again, if you're doing some type of battle damage, or you're going to have some type of scarring, or maybe you only have half the chest armor showing, that's really kind of cool. To have that kind of detail in there. It comes with a 100mm machine gun. Comes with a shield shown here. It's kind of like a reinforced version of the normal one that goes out with some of the RX-79 ground Gundams, or Gundam. And then there is a beam rifle, which I don't have displayed here out with the kit directly, but it is on the hanger rack. So it does have like a little side piece that the Gundam can hold on to if it's firing it. And then of course it has the beam sabers. It comes with some of the shorter, more pink versions of the beam sabers, which I actually think is nice. I like the shorter beam sabers because some of these high grades have ridiculously long beam sabers, and it's like, dude, that almost seems like you shouldn't be able to control it. I mean, I know that they probably have no mass or anything, but it is a weird thing to me. That's pretty much it, because it doesn't come with the 180mm cannon that the ground Gundams do. What else? The parachute pack. Yeah, so there is a parachute pack that comes with this kit, but I am not planning on using it at all with this kit. I might figure out a way to cut it up and kind of use supplemental armor on some other kit, or to use it for something else. I don't know. I can always also recycle those verniers or thrusters for those that are not included in the hobby, or that are not very familiar with the hobby. There are thrusters with the kit that I can use to either supplement this one or to use on another kit, which is really nice because sometimes it's a little expensive when you're trying to get those thrusters by themselves. But that's all that's really on this for gimmicks or for extra weapons and pieces. So let's get down to the decals. So for color correction, it's really only these. These guys up here are used for the parachute pack if you use the ribbon, or the ribbon portion, or yeah, I think they're just ribbons or whatever, to attach the parachute pack to the gun to kind of have it deployed. But all in all, I'm not planning on using the parachute pack. I'm not planning on doing it or using these to kind of like dress it up. So I'm not worried about that. However, it does come with a nice set of decals. Now, if you're just doing stickers and you don't want to buy additional decals, this is pretty much above average. There's a lot of differentiating decals. Some things that can kind of be used as like caution sign or caution signs. Some ground force stickers for the Earth or for the Federation, and some Federation style decals as well, and even Ez-8 written out decals. So it's really kind of neat to see a high grade kit that comes with so many stickers for those that actually want to just use that. But as you're well aware, I look into, hey, what are some third party decals that you can use for this kit that will really help out? And I'm a big fan of G Rework. G Rework does a lot of really good water slide decals. And not only does he have a set specifically for this high grade kit, but he does have it for but he also has just typical EFSF stickers, or not stickers, decals that you can use. And he just came out with these chipped decals that are for everything from Xeon to the Federation to just numbers and letters and stuff. But they look really sweet. If you're doing like a light weathering on this kit, or you don't really have or you're not really familiar with how to make decals have that chipped look, those are awesome for you to use. I'm getting probably a set of one of each in the gray and then one of each in the white myself, just to kind of see what they look like and eventually test out. But I think they're going to look really good, especially if you love light weathering and you're not going to just straight up just weather the heck out of water slide decals, or if you don't know how and don't want the time to do that, or don't want to put in the time to do that, which is understandable. But you can find those obviously at my sponsor, Gundam Shoppers Network, and I think other sites as well have them in. But listen, if you go to Gundam Shoppers Network and use the code Hangar10, that's all capital Hangar, and then the number 10, you can save 10% off. You're not going to get that anywhere else, at least not that I know of. So please go give Gundam Shoppers Network some business. One, if they don't have it, they'll try and find somebody who does. And two, they're a great little shop, and they're really starting to get in a lot of good kits, a lot of exclusive kits. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, I recommend you do so, because Charles puts on lottery after lottery for really exclusive P-Bondi kits. So please check it out. But other than that, guys, I don't really have a whole lot besides the plans that I have for this kit in the future. I originally wanted to put this kit in the strike team, but I don't think I'm doing that anymore. I think I'm putting it in the stealth team. So if you guys have watched some of my other videos, and I've discussed the stealth team a lot in those, depending on which kit you've seen, I'm probably gonna put a visor on it if it's gonna be part of the stealth team, which means that I might not even paint the eyes, but I'll probably do it anyway. But it's going to act as a recovery asset. So I looked at this backpack. I'm like, okay, I'm not putting on the weapon pack. I'm not putting on the parachute pack. What can I use it for in this configuration? And my first thought was a recovery asset. So what that means is that, hey, if you have a damage-friendly mobile suit, I'm going to probably put some type of retrieving claws on this in some way, shape, or form. It will reach down, grab probably the torso and like the head or whatever, and then slide it directly in here. So you can kind of see that it would have space for the head by looking at the head of the Ez-8 up here. And then you kind of just fit the waist part, maybe with the legs spread out a little bit, in this centerpiece. Or maybe the legs are gone. And it would carry that out almost like a combat medic, but it would basically be the Gundam version of a combat medic. Which I think is a really cool concept, because I really haven't seen that done. But also, the stealth team is going to hit high value targets. And sometimes those mobile suits are probably going to be experimental. So it can also carry out any high value mobile suits that you might be able to gather information or data or performance things from that, Federation scientists, researchers, etc. could get from it. So I think it's a really cool multi-purpose idea for this kit. It makes use of the really unique backpack that these kits have. And it's different than its original use. So I think that's kind of what I'm looking to do here. And that means that the paint scheme is still kind of up in the air. I might just do a typical stealth scheme with a lot of dark colors. Probably a primary color of black instead of this off-white. Or I might do kind of like a Titans color scheme with it. I would have to figure out how I'd want to make that work. I'd probably utilize the RG Titans when I build it and the Quell to kind of figure out how I would do that with this kit. Or I might even do an olive drab paint scheme where I might make it more of a combat medic style where you have like the red cross on it and or like maybe like a wrench and screwdriver or gear or some type of decal that shows like maybe it's a maintenance unit. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the only color schemes that I really have in mind for this kit, since it will be part of the stealth team. For customization plans, like I said, I think I'm going to add subarms to this backpack in order to kind of retrieve an asset from the battlefield. I don't know if I'm just going to use my Kotobukiya ones or if I might take some of the subarm stuff from the Silver Bullet or mesh them together and kind of make it work that way. Or if I might get the GP03 because they have a pretty solid set of subarms that you really don't need for that kit to make it anyway. Or like to complete it anyway, because they're hitting that well. So yeah, I think that's probably what I'll wind up doing for the recovery portion of this. But I also might add some hydraulics or like some hydraulic looking items into the legs, or some type of strength reinforcement. Because if it's carrying the increased load of basically another mobile suit, it's going to need some type of load distribution system, and it's probably all going to be in the legs and possibly the torso, but you probably won't even see any of that. So that's what I'm going to try and do and show it on the exterior instead of just saying like, hey, this Gundam has this, like kind of just RPing it. But yeah, and then like I said earlier, the visor. And for weapons, I kind of want to give it a knife with a custom made out of PLA teeth for it, like kind of mounting it on the shoulder here. I think it would look really sick, or maybe even like a drop leg style knife system. And then just suppressing this machine gun. I'm probably not really going to add another type of weapon to it. I might use like the vector style pistol that Kotobukiya has in one of its MSG kits, but I'll probably wind up just kind of doing this machine gun and kind of making a suppressor out of it. Well, yeah, maybe even a pistol too. Yeah, probably a pistol. We'll see. So yeah, that's really all I have on this kit here. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys like some of the plans that I have in store for the kit. I kind of wanted to keep it where I had it on the kit cam while I was explaining the plan, so I could kind of point out some of the items and some of the things I want to do with it on the actual kit. I know I have a tendency just to talk about it, but I wanted to show like, hey, these are kind of the pick points and all that kind of stuff that I'm looking to use for this kit, or use like to customize a kit. But yeah, I hope you guys like that style. If you don't, let me know in the comment section on if you guys liked it better when I would tell you guys my plans in this camera style. But yeah, that's all I really have on this kit. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you do, always make sure to subscribe and like the video. It really helps me out a lot. Yeah, that's all I got. So as always, make sure you guys grab your hobby tools and sortie out and hobby on. Hey, what's going on, pilots? If you like the kit in this video, then I highly recommend stopping and seeing our friends at the Gundam Shoppers Network. On that website, you can find multiple Gunpla kits in various grades. You can also find things like Gundam option sets and decals for your custom builds. You can even find hobby tools and other hobby items that will help you build your Gundam kits as fast and as clean as possible. Gundam Shoppers Network also has a very extensive community section. In this community section, you can find things like Gunpla building resources, Gunpla model kit reviews, and recommended US and international retailers. Now, this is one of the most important sections I think that they have to offer, because if they don't have the kit available in their stores, they will still make sure that you have all the resources available to you to make sure that that kit gets into your hands, even if it's from another vendor. The Gundam Shoppers Network also has a news section that features things coming to the site in the future, various discount coupon codes, and they also have some interviews that they conduct with content creators such as Plamo Therapists. So if any of those kits, tips and tricks, and resources interest you, then I'd highly recommend checking them out. And as always, pilots, sortie out and hobby on, and I'll see you in the next video.